some of you, or many of you, may know already, we did have some issues in this cube. If you saw the last live stream, we did lose a couple of fish in here, and some very important ones, unfortunately. Not that any fish is more important than others, but you know, we lost our crown jewel. I lost my fire eel. Very difficult to treat once it gets ick. I believe that's what's been going on in this tank. However, you know, we're on, you know, day 4 or 5 of treatments right now. Things are starting to get better. But, you know, it's tough, guys. It's tough. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about what I've been doing and quarantining this tank and how I've been working with that in those regards to try to alleviate any other losses and or issues. So let's get into it. So these guys are getting a little salt bath right now. Hopefully this will continue helping. I gave the Severum a salt bath the other day and he definitely seems a lot better. But yeah, guys, we're going to continue to monitor this situation and continue trying everything we can to not. So hasn't really shown any signs of the ick other than a little bit of flashing, but we're going to give our Geophagus a nice little salt bath. He's been in here for about 3 or 4 minutes now. I'm going to give him a few more minutes. So this is just a bath with some natural sea salt and some stress guard. So, you know, hopefully this is something that's going to continue to cleanse these guys as they recover. As I said earlier, I don't want to lose any more fish in this process. So we're kind of going into emergency mode right now. I would create a quarantine tank right now with this tank. However, with the other system being new, I'd rather not. I have her up here recovering right now. I don't really, not ready to move her back. And also this tank has not had a water change in God knows. So it's a very stable environment, and I really don't want to kill off some bacteria, dose with chemicals, upset the environment of this tank. Since everybody's kind of got it over here, what I've been doing, like I've been showing you, is treatment baths. And if it gets worse, which it doesn't seem to be at this point, I'm hoping the worst of it is past, but if it gets worse at any point, I will do individual treatments with, I'm hoping I don't have to do this, but I will do individual treatments with some PraziPro and some Ick Remedy. I don't think that's going to be necessary at this point. I probably should have did that to begin with in hindsight, because again, guys, I lost our fire eel. I probably should have just done individual treatments instead of treating the tank with that. I'm not a big fan of chemicals. I probably could have just stuck with the temperature raise and the salt as I had originally planned, but some of these guys were getting worse, so I kind of had to go with plan B. The water could probably be a little bit warmer right now, but we're at least at a stage where it's going to push the life cycle of this ick along a little faster and hopefully clear it up faster. We're at about 81 degrees now. We've been there for about 3 or so days. Definitely seems to be pushing the life cycle along. Some of the fish that weren't quite so bad, they definitely pushed out quite a few more spots on themselves. Our Acara is a good example of that. And unfortunately, what I was doing at first was not quite quick enough on some of these fish. And we lost our fire eel, our electric blue Carpentis, and we also lost our 2 small silver dollars. I talked about that a little bit during the live stream this past Sunday, day 1 of when it happened. If you guys haven't seen that yet, check it out. Pretty sad day in fish keeping, but as I stated in that live stream, guys, these things do happen, and I rushed a few things in this system, and I knew better, but you know, I thought that my experience would take me beyond that, and it was humbling in that sense, because no matter how long you guys have been doing this, or anybody for that matter, there's always something that'll pop up, and it's going to humble you eventually. I mean, you know, we are not God, and keeping fish, we are playing with nature in a sense, but you need to remember, you are not God, and what you think might work, or what you think you can get away with, you are not the creator. So keep that in mind, guys, as you progress through this hobby. No matter how many years you do it for, these things happen to the best of us. Alright, so I've been filming this in stages as we've kind of been going forward from our terrible announcement the other week of the outbreak in this tank. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, at this point I think it was ick at first, and then it became Epistalis. We've lost quite a few fish in this aquarium at this point, and ick is not normally something that is going to kill your fish the way that this thing kind of did me. So, as I said earlier in this video, this was a very difficult thing. It does happen though in the hobby. It just sucks when it happens. I will say though, I did not do a water change this morning. It's Saturday right now. Did all my other water changes on my other tanks. But I did do a water change after I had treated this tank, and then I've been treating by medicating my food with Conoplex and Metroplex, and here we are at this point. So just going to do a little bit of maintenance while I give you this update. We're going to go ahead and take this netting off of here, because obviously since our fire eel has unfortunately passed, for now we're going to take this netting off because we don't particularly need it at this time. Maybe one day in the future when we do get another eel, we will either put this netting back on, or maybe even by then I'll have a custom made top for this tank. Who knows, guys? I think it's going to be a little while before I get myself another eel for this aquarium. I just want to let this environment stabilize, and you know, we probably lost half of our population. So as a final update, it seems like everybody that's still in here right now has been on the mend for the last 3 or so days, doing pretty well, and it seems like things are beginning to stabilize in here. But while it continues to stabilize, like I said, we're not going to shock the system and do any sort of water change. We actually had a snail lay eggs today. I'll show you that up on the window here in a minute. It's pretty cool. Right now though, let me go ahead and get this screen up off of here, guys. We also need to clean our filter socks underneath here. We'll go ahead and take care of that as well. But just to go over the fact, like I said, it sucks when these types of things happen, but they do happen, and nobody is immune to that. I don't care how good you are or how long you've been keeping fish, these things can happen. Like I said, I think it started with some ick, and then there probably was a little bit of underlying Epistalis there too, and raising the temperature to help with the ick in turn turned up the volume on the Epistalis, because even though those two diseases look very, very similar to each other, the treatment, as far as temperature goes in your aquarium, it's the exact opposite, guys. You know, raising the temperature speeds up the life cycle of the ick. It also speeds up the life cycle of Epistalis, but that's not something you want to do when you are treating for Epistalis, because if you speed that life cycle up, guys, it's going to kill your fish before you can ultimately get a proper treatment. And you know, it's really not always the Epistalis itself that is going to kill your fish. It is the weakening of your fish's immune system, and it becoming open to other infectional problems with other types of parasites, etc. So for, oh my gosh, you guys see that? Caught her in the nick of time. But we're going to go ahead and open this system back up. Probably going to move some of this driftwood around while we're at it too. I want to pick you guys up real quick and show you something interesting that I have noticed on this driftwood though. So check this out, guys. I'm almost wondering. So there is a sprout here, as you see, and a couple here. I'm not quite sure if that's just something that was on the wood or if it is coming from the wood itself. However, if I can, well, it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but you see that little root up there? That's coming from the stump itself. So interesting. I don't know, maybe we'll end up with a living piece of driftwood. That'd be really interesting, guys. Let me know what you think down below, what might be going on here in that scenario. So we're just going to move some of this around here. Looks like this is kind of, yeah, a little chunk just came off of here, guys, but oh shit. And there we go. The bubbler just fell into the water. Awesome. It's okay, we're still functioning, but I guess I'm gonna have to wait for that to dry out before I plug it back in. But yeah, so guys, I didn't really raise the flow on this tank. It was already as, like, I wouldn't say, well, I guess I could say maxed out for this tank because of the pump that I have. But what I did do to help aid was add more oxygen to the water. These pumps have been on here for, well, basically since last Sunday, so about a week now. But they've been doing their job, and the system is beginning to stabilize. You see the plants kind of took a little beating from the treatment that I had initially given. So to date, guys, we have lost our 2 little silver dollars. We lost our electric blue carpentus. We lost our fire eel. That was a big one. I mean, all of this is big, any loss of life to me, but the fire eel especially, that one kind of hurt. But you know, in these scenarios, it's very difficult to treat a tank, and you know, in hindsight, some of the things I could have done better. You know, I do have the rack over here. My quarantine tank was occupied, and I was being stubborn, and I didn't want to put that into my quarantine system. And in hindsight, I probably should have treated these fish in my orange bucket here before treating the system, and maybe, just maybe, we wouldn't have lost our fire eel. And then lastly, as this tank kind of started to mend, a couple of surprising losses. We lost our Starry Night also. We lost our electric blue Acara. And we, the last fish that we ended up losing was our Geophagus red Tapajo. But our Severum and our Danios, they both had the issue, and they have been recovering for the past few days. Everybody in here is eating. Our archerfish never seemed to be affected by this, as neither did our chocolate cichlid. So who's left in this tank right now, guys? Well, we still have our 5 Danios. Oh, we also lost our bristlenose pleco, also our red bushy nose. That one was kind of surprising as well. But our 5 Danios are left, our red spotted Severum, our archerfish, our chocolate cichlid, who's hiding somewhere right now. All of our snails are doing fine. Like I said, they laid eggs this morning. I'll show you that in a second. And then our tiger knifefish is also fine. He's really hard to get on film because he often hides. He's not very big right now. He's probably up under one of those rock piles, probably right around there is usually where he is. Not quite sure, but he's definitely okay. I saw him last night. He was out and eating and cruising when I had given everybody some bloodworms. But yeah, guys, so that one hurt, but you know, it happens, like I said. But we're gonna move forward, we're gonna rebuild, and we are going to make this system beautiful, just like all of my other tanks, guys. You know, again, things I could have done better, things that were out of my control too. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with some of the things that I did and or didn't do. But yeah, guys, so hopefully we're gonna wait a couple more weeks before we try and add any more fish into here, and then hopefully we can resume turning this into the underwater jungle that it was intended to be, guys. So thank you for those of you that reached out and gave me support when this was all going on. Much appreciated, guys. But onward and upward. So Matty Fish out. Also, I just realized I never did show you the snail eggs before I ended the video in that clip, but there they are. Check those out, guys. Pretty cool. Hard to get a shot of them from the front because where they are here, but look at that. There you go. So I actually got a small clip of this mystery snail laying her eggs, and I'll see if I can put that in here too, or I'll release it as a short, but we'll see what comes of this. Maybe we'll get a bunch of snail babies, maybe some will get eaten. We'll find out, but pretty cool, guys.